hand. I know I wasn't casting that match. We did see one team huddle into the underpass of this point. Yeah. And they sat by the Mega with a Sombra, and they used a Reinhardt and a D.Va to be their front line, and it were really hard to actually move out of position.
It was North America. I want to say it was Yikes. I want to say because they have the heroes that can be able to do it. I want to say that XQC was involved in that match, so I think it was Yikes down there.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it was North America, though. I've been having trouble creating memories because if you only sleep like 2 hours a night, your brain just doesn't work anymore, as is evidenced by here. So which means that, you know, by the end of this all, I will have forgotten everything about you.
Sounds like for the best, though. Let's be fair.
Well, they're going to open up with the Widow, of course, just to check out where the defense is. And sometimes, depending on how you feel about your Widow, you'll go on this bridge and peek a little bit more. It does not seem like they feel like they're going to have the angle. And this is what you're going to have to deal with up top. It's going to be the 76, but this time they've got an Iana up there, too, which means that a diving Winston has the possibility of getting slapped. It's going to be a difficult place to get rid of. Some teams will just rotate through glass here. They're giving up a lot of free push, though. This is why I don't like holding this far back.
And with Ake being the only guy on the ground to really stop his payload from pushing, he's going to be under a lot of scrutiny here. But luckily, he does have that healing out of Talisman to keep him alive. As you point out, the Ana being played can do a lot more burst healing than any other support in the game, as you're using a Transcendence. And even then, you're committing ultimate versus just regular auto heals. Still, though, he's set up in server room. We talked about him upon Murd being set up on midpoint, on our second point on the mid ground. He's doing it just again. He's not being attacked. He's not being focused down. And if you're Soldier in this position, it's a dream come true. You shouldn't really be missing any shots from here.
And that, I mean, he even gets the satisfaction of demeching the D.Va right there too, and that's always the Soldier's biggest bane. Cleanup does come through.
No, okay, so Alpha Squad, they're like running a dive comp, but not actually diving, right? It looks like they're running with like a Reinhardt to just sit behind the shield and sit back and hold a position. But if you're running dive, you have to jump in on Snilla. You have to jump in on their backline. You cannot allow him to just sit there and constantly hammer away at you.
Dive, but without a Tracer and a 76 who's never going to leave high ground. But you're right, they probably should have pressured the ground a little bit more. Should have helped Ake when he had a call of someone's low, maybe go in on him. But I don't know. I don't like that defense because I think you can do that defense after also trying to play an aggressive defense. Like, you can still get in position to do that after you've held very far forward at first. Regardless, the shuttle phase does commence. The Zenyatta's actually bumped into each other, going in the dueling Transcendences. Couple of support kills come down here early as Goose busts out the blade, does not live with his life as Tonic jumps in like one of those gorillas from Congo.
That was actually a really good play out of Mistakes there, because he ate one of the swings, one of the Dragon Blade swings. He dashed away, and then right when he saw Big Goose dash at him, he recalled. So then he created the space he needed to stay away from Big Goose to not give him a reset. Really well done. It really shows like the mastery of his Tracer.
He's been putting on a clinic here today and continues to do so right now as they push through rather unopposed. Not a one fight so far for Alpha Squad. They've put bodies in the way, but that's about it. They're going to sneak some people down left and top right. I like that. At least they didn't go all in on top left. And this is a really early boost as Lolly tries to find something. Goose has got his back in the ground. He's able to take out a Zenyatta, but that's not a great trade.
Not really at all, and you gotta have to kind of wonder what caused that boost to come in. Was it a misclick? Maybe it was a miscommunication between the teams, but nonetheless, it's definitely caused them a lot of progress here. You can see Cherry Dormy trying to keep that payload for a movie, but he's on a sliver of HP and eventually being desuited and knocked away, and this payload is just not being halted. 1, 2, 3 are on a warpath here.
It's got to be a misclick, right? He came through the doorway already boosted. You don't boost them just to enter at that point, and if you have to boost someone just to enter, then why do you even have tanks on your team if you can't gain entry? Well, they get a couple of kills. Cherry might pay the price for trying not to get split spawn as the other two think better of it. Will go off the edge.
Oh, look at this though, like Snilla, because they're all suiciding, because they had to give the position of when they died, he gets high ground right out of spawn.
Yeah.
This is just disgusting. This is really bad for Alpha Squad. They need to somehow get out of this position. But luckily for them, 1, 2, 3 do back away. They do respect this, and they do give them that ground back that they just took.
Gives it up because even if you crush them in that fight, the push that you're going to get is negligible versus the push that you're already going to get for free right now. The bad thing is that you are going to let them set up in position, but already at the top here, nearly around the bend, so already in great position based on the momentum they've had, already rolling through this for 1, 2, 3, and rolling might not be the correct term. I mean, steamrolling? What's an unopposable vehicle?
A Hummer.
There you go.
A Hummer limo.
A mom and a minivan.
Oh gosh.
Late for soccer practice. Goose comes in.
Tupperware party.
Those used to be a thing. You think you just made up that term? People used to have parties to buy and sell Tupperware.
Yeah, we're old enough to know that.
Yeah, tragically.
Yeah, my
tragically
mother actually did have quite a few at her house, and I actually have one of them with me in Germany. So thanks, Mom, for having that Tupperware party. Shoutouts to you. Kodak will actually kill himself just so he gets the resuit in here in just a few seconds. And 1, 2, 3 have finally been halted, but they still have 3 minutes of time. They're still on a fantastic pace to finish off this match.
Finally, however, this is where teams will sometimes stop the bleeding, put the tourniquet on, but there was no holds before that at all. 1, 2, 3 still in good position here, as nearly all of their ultimates will be online, including both support ultimates. That is the huge advantage that they have right now. A small window there to be able to get through. The Transcend is forced out on the defense. They have to react to the pressure. Offensively, they transcend into, I would have preferred a full retreat there, to be honest, but now they're in, and Mistakes is going to punish the Transcend over the top as the self-destruct does not get it. But you don't need to self-destruct when you have a machine of destruction on the ground, which is Mistakes. Well, was Mistakes. He has taken a rocket, but did so much damage already. They're going to get a lot more progress here. And this is another quasi-checkpoint when you get the payload this far, is now the defense can't really set up anywhere past here because you can get back capped, and
this is going to be so hard.
That rotate visor over top.
And the Diva can only watch so much of this, and I mean, like, actually, they backed away. I think, yeah, they all backed away. I'm not sure why they gave up this positioning. Was it the sound barrier popped out of Talisman? They just immediately respected that and dropped off?
There is an argument to be made that teams don't retreat often enough in Overwatch, but I think 1, 2, 3 is taking that a bit too far here. I loved the position they were in and the setup that they had, but they didn't seem to like it, did not feel it was correct. And maybe that's product of the way they call. They could not come to a concise answer of, do we go in or do we back up?
Well, I mean, the D-suit was almost there to Cherry Dormy as he just popped his self-destruct. Really get the resuit back on because they realize Stella does have his ultimate. The thing is, he's already been dropped by here by Lolly, who hits him with the Helix rocket. Tarn gonna pop his Primal Rage just to keep people away from the payload here, but the payload's still being contested from multiple different angles. So at least one person left on it, and not to mention there's gonna be Lolly, the high guard, who finally gets punted off this position. But the thing is, with these ultimates being committed, 1, 2, 3 have not really picked up any kills.
Not enough, anyway. Mistakes gets one late. They might still want to come in here, and yeah, they're committing again. The visor will go in. Winston, it does have him in his sights. You know, this has happened before to a Soldier 76, and sometimes it can be advantageous, where Winston knocks you up in the air, and all of a sudden your visor has all these new targets.
Well, Big Goose going to be coming in with the Blade, being forced to reflect, though. It hasn't picked up a single kill, so the Blade's going to net them nothing. That could have been huge for them to be able to pick up so many kills on that payload. And now he's being pressured back. He's almost actually about to fall for this, but Lolly not being attacked. He almost has his visor at 96% and counting.
Transcend comes in, and that will force him to back off yet again. I gotta say, Lolly 76 has been pretty good here. He's gonna try to finish off all these very low kills. They put themselves in the room. Baby put themselves in the corner there, and they are getting shut down, but the counter sound barrier says go, and they get a couple kills to start it off.
Patrick Swayze would be really disappointed with 1, 2, 3 so far, but they're still fighting back here. They're still picking up enough kills to push this payload further. Sherry Dorman's going to be de-suited here. Talisman's going to be able to rejoin the team in just a few seconds, but he's going to be by himself. They have to do something about this. You can see Bach up to the side, waiting for that right click to go off, and they're going to swarm back in onto this point.
They were in so much trouble. The defense matrix kept them alive long enough to build up the sound barrier, get the sound barrier. They went go out of that spot. I thought it was a huge mistake going into that room.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like it was going to be all bad. The ults came up at the right time. A great pushback, and they will eventually finish that map. But Alpha at least put up a better defense than they did in the first 80% of that map.
I'd even say 82.37% of that map if I were to really, narrow that one down.
Thanks. Super helpful.
Super helpful. But no, Alpha Squad. Gosh, the dancing Winston gets me every time. Still waiting to see your face photoshopped on that.
Yeah, that makes one of us. United and Team Experts will be the next match coming up. A lot should be on the line with that one. And that, of course, will be our friends ZP and Jamerson.
Let's not, use that term for both of us here.
Friends?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And that's a rematch from obviously last week, where it was a 2-2. So really
Right.
big match between those two teams to see who can pull through and maybe get that first seed.
This was a 2-2 last week, and this has been very entertaining, very close between these two teams. Alpha Squad with the win condition of, or at least tie condition, of having to finish out the map. And if they do not, that will be 1, 2, 3, taking a pretty good advantage. And What did I? Oh, you had a joke. You had a joke
Could
in
have been
mind.
1-2-3, taking the 4th map.
Ah, man.
Point.
You're so much smarter than me. Like, you're
Only
taller,
when it comes to stupid things.
You're smarter, you're better
handsome.
looking. I know, this is just... How do I even compete? I don't. I just want to be the Batman to your Robin. And you know all the implications of that.
Wait, you wouldn't be the Batman. I have to be the Robin.
Oh, no, that's what I... No, I'm sorry. I want to be the Robin to your Batman.
Okay. You can be the Batgirl if you want. Let's just move on.
yeah.
So the game here. Yeah, Lolly going to be on Hanzo, maybe just to check for an initial push on the high ground like we typically do see Hanzos do. And 1-2-3 on the defense, running pretty much similar to what they've run in the past.
Sonic Arrow comes out to check for any shenanigans in that corner. Does see that they're pushed out pretty far back, so going to switch right off of that. I liked 276 last game. I think for me, a lot of this is going to rely on Goose, and he's shown that he can do it, gets a little bit of damage in, finds that there's a 76 right there. This skirmish happening right around the bend, this is where the Winston mating dance comes to happen all the time. They both sit around this corner and just tickle each other with the Tesla beams. Goose gets the first kill though, and it's huge on the Bach.
We all know tickling leads to Primal Rage. Just smacking each other away from the point. Big Goose is pretty much trapped in the corner with too many different men in his way, and they will eventually drop down and die. Well, 1-2-3 have lost a couple of people in the midst of all this. They were able to repel them on this first initial defense.
Almost ready.
I love this initial defense anyway, because if it fails, they can still get in another fight. They can still pull back and get up top. Look at all the time they've already bought, and really it's just about time right now for their defense. They want to bleed out as many seconds as possible. Would not surprise me to see them fight under Car Wash right now, but with the offense taking it to them, Goose is going to get a dash through onto Tonic to start off this fight. It's going to slow down their push, and they're pushing very aggressively. Had used a Primal Rage already just to keep them out of the doors. I think 1-2-3 has to come back in here. Look at all the ults they banked. They haven't used them at all. They must be planning something.
Just haven't been able to get set up, most importantly. Still is finally able to use his visor, but not before Paris been able to charge up his Transcendence. The self-destruction to be dropped down. The Sound Barrier being used as well here out of Alpha Squad, so committing every support ultimate they have. And in a second, we have Lollipop attack visor, every ultimate they had available in this. And even a self-destruct being thrown down by Sherry Dormy, but he's not able to get a kill off of this. It's just a lot of ults being used, but with no real kills coming through. It's finally 1-2-3 do put their foot down, pick up 3 kills, and do repel Alpha Squad yet again.
It will surprise no one to know that of those 3 kills, I think Mistakes got 2.5 of them. Of course, half being the Diva Mech, and they're just going to leave her
Halves
out
are
of
really
mech.
important to you.
They are. That could be in reference to like a million things, so I'm not going to sit here and guess and embarrass
Well, I
myself.
mean, you're like 5'3.5", right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's generous. I mean, the fact you started that off with a 5 was probably generous. Right now, it's still set up as they did use their ults to come back and fight, and that was really important. Again, it's just about bleeding this clock right now. They'd be happy to end it right here, but any time that it takes them to push, given they're blazing fast all the way through their 82.3%, Goose finds himself in trouble there. Bach will take him down. And that's not a great start. These Zenyatas have just been going DPS Zen all over each other, and both are down out of this fight, trading back and forth. But at this point on the map, it actually favors the defense, those trades. The reinforcements are a little quicker.
Well, the Helix Rocket coming through does connect, but doesn't get the kill. They have so many people on half HP there inside the server room, but it looks like Mistakes is not able to get the kill as he does fall to Lolly, and still is going to be dropped by Big Goose. So the progress is finally going to start coming the way of Alpha Squad, as they do have that Sound Barrier to buy them some extra survivability if they do need it.
They're just going to buy out stall. That's why the Transcend comes in. They know that if they can just push this fight back, retreating with the Sound Barrier never feels good. That is forcing out a Transcend in a terrible position too, as he continues to get knocked away right now. Mistakes just waiting for him to be vulnerable once again. Goose up top trying to get some work done. Does find 2-3. Akka does chime in as well. Still not super decisive. There's a couple people alive, mostly the problem being Mistakes.
Yeah, and Kodak as well able to fly on top of that payload here in the last few seconds. With 20 seconds remaining, they will
get
eventually...
this.
I would imagine they're eventually going to get this, but still it's going to come in the corner. No, they just make it in time. And Alpha Squad will get that first checkpoint finally under their belts, but in the nick of time, though, as they were just about to hit overtime.
He was there, though. He was there. Could have been able to stall that out. He had biofield down and everything, and now they've decided, yeah, we gave it up, but let's just keep fighting out here. It's been fun fighting out here for us. It's been advantageous for them so far, and looks like it's going to not be the case remaining. A couple of them go down late. Fighting out there, not the greatest idea. At least they won't get split spawn now. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the idea of fighting out there, is we don't want to half commit and then lose 3 people just for free on the split spawn.
And the thing is now, you're giving up a lot of positioning for Alpha Squad to get on top of the shuttles. So you have to come in from maybe a different creative angle.
Yeah.
But you have a Diva, so it's not really too difficult since you can mitigate all that damage coming your way. But actually might be a little bit aggressive at Ake, who's going to pop that Pommel Rage to keep them all in the corner. He's buying a lot of time. They're not picking up any kills.
Forces out the Transcend, though, and a Transcend not in an ideal position. And knowing that Transcend is out, they're going to barrier and give Goose a chance for his blade. Goose does what Goose has been doing all game, a double kill that turns into 4 kills. And this is going to be all in the way of Alpha Squad.
Yeah. All right, so minute 30 remaining. Looks like they get the second checkpoint with relative ease. And a 1-2-3. I mean, this is like obviously the hardest point of the map is this final push in. Now we're gonna see if they're gonna be late a second time here, so needs to buy them a watch or an alarm clock. Tonic will at least be able to get back and stall for a little bit of time. Here still picks up a kill actually with his attack fires. There's not really stopping him because Sherry Dormy, I don't know if he has defense matrix even to stop this damage coming through. And it's looking not bad here for 1-2-3.
They have the bodies on the point to be able to continue to contest, and the sound barrier coming in is great for them. Now Alpha Squad finds himself in an opposition in the room. Ake has to pop that or he was going to die. Still under 60 seconds. Ake gets a couple of kills with the Primal Rage, which icon is glasses, oddly enough. Heard you're supposed to never hit a man with glasses.
Yeah, but
use your fist instead. They come around the corner.
That was like the ultimate dad joke I've ever heard.
Well, you know, they all can't be winners. Good position here for the offense to get set up. I actually like that Lolly's back on this second bridge. It means he won't have to give it up if that jump we just saw comes in. He's able to get all the free poke damage. Not a lot there to contest him aside from the other Soldier 76. Does get discorded, able to get out with his life though. Does seem like 1-2-3 wants to take the fight around the corner, but not with this happening. Self-destruct comes in. Transcend does not save you from that burst damage as Snilo goes down pretty quick. Trades back and forth though, so perhaps not the clean fight the offense is looking for given all they committed to it.
Yeah, they're still getting a couple of stagger kills here too, with Alpha Squad having only 2 people remaining left on the point. Sheridomi's gonna eventually fall here, and Ake's been forced to just jump away. And 1-2-3 will put the hold again, put the brakes on here into this final point. A minute and 15 remaining. And Stello should have the opportunity now to take that high ground that we did see Lolly get initially here, and just use that against them.
Kodak could have a big moment because as good as this is for the offense self-destruct, defensive self-destructs can be just as good. Coming up over that top corner, there's not a whole lot of places to hide. One of the places to hide is that room, and then you could collapse on it in there, although that didn't work out very well for the other side. So largely going to be about execution of ultimates in this next fight. Tonic very low, has to pop Primal Rage just to stay alive. Another blade in the backline for Goose will eliminate both supports out of this fight. Alpha Squad going to be able to win this fight and get some progress. There will be one more fight. It's not going to be clean enough to push us all the way to the end. In fact, it just takes too long to push the payload all the way to the end. They have a closeout ultimate in Primal Rage. This is it. 30 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, we got a pulse bomb out of mistakes. We got a self-destruct out of Kodak. So you have 2 ways to kill people without them being able to stop it at all. We see the sound barrier. Even then, it only works on one of them. But Mistakes is going to miss. The knockoff is going to come in over towards Denia, who's actually eventually going to fall down to his death. Snow's going to pop his attack visor, but where from? It's in spawn. They can't do anything about this. But then again, he's not really able to get much damage done from here. The Transcendence is being used off the point to try to dive this backline, to try to eliminate Talisman. They just get their healers away. That self-destruct could go huge.
Both self-destructs come down to the offensive one does take down 2, and it actually ends up taking down Kodak, who dropped his own self-destruct, so he was out of suit during the time. Stall out still coming in, though, as the sound barrier was dropped from Denia, and this is now starting to look good for the defense as Mistakes is out on the cleanup. Ake and company falling slowly here, now just waiting for the stall, staggering in one by one. They find the hiding Zen in the corner. It is all up to Goose to get back to this car. Overtime ticks down. 1, 2, 3. You ready for it? Gets 4. Yay!
Oh, so proud of you there, Hex.
I told you this is gonna be the most Sesame Street broadcast I've ever done.
You're like, was it? I can't remember his name. The Count.
I think it's just the Count.
It's the Count.
Okay,
yeah.
good. I thought it was Count Chocula for some reason.
What's the guy? The guy that counts. The Count. That guy.
But no, yeah, that was really well done by 1-2-3, and give credit to Alpha Squad to actually push them quite heavily on Hollywood, on Nepal, especially 3-2 scoreline. Even Gibraltar, even though it does say 3-2, even though the scoreline says 4-1, doesn't really tell the story of how well Alpha Squad did do here today.
Goose played really well, and the best part about that play of the game is that it did not open with a pumpkin.
That is the best part, at least for some of us. I don't like seeing it either, quite frankly. We have seen quite a bit of it. Me, less than you, I would say, overall. But I would have to say, yeah, Alpha came out with some strengths there for sure, and I'm glad that they kept fighting to the very end, even though that this was really just for their own pride, potentially, and to show their stuff as individuals. But I do have some advice for them. Stop giving Snillo so much freedom on 76.
Just don't let Snillo alone on the high ground.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to adjust that phrase. It's pretty simple. It's just Soldier 76 operates, most DPS operate good in space, but he in particular, I think maybe only McCree is better at just giving him space. It can be more of a problem, but he's got his own heal. You have to commit something to it, and you don't have to commit everything, but at least pressure him. I'm not even asking for kills, just pressure him.
I mean, we see a lot of, Diva Winston jump on top of a Soldier, and then you can't really run away easily from that. But again, we saw Diva playing really defensively, not being aggressive, trying to protect his own backline. And when you're going to kind of get stuck into that mindset, it means Snillo's always going to have freedom.
Well, and then the problem is, well, you just described two different tanks, and we've seen Divas prioritizing that backline a little bit more. But what we've seen from teams who have found success, even on this actual map, is then having your Winston diving in. Well, and usually you have a couple other people diving in as well. But for this time around, Alpha was being a little bit more tentative with that. You could see that on their first defense. They didn't want to initiate, even though they kind of had that dive composition going.
I mean, when you're Aka and Sherry Dormy here, like, you kind of need to rely on your DPS players. You need to rely on Big Goose and Lolly to like back you up, to be able to get those kills. And I just feel like the way they played dive comp was too defensive. They didn't dive with it. They just tried to play like they're playing with the Reinhardt, just hold ground, just hold face, and not allow them to take that ground away from you. But when you're running dive, you have to get in the face of the enemy team. You have to not let them ever be comfortable.
And the biggest symptom of that was how often Sherry Dorma got demeched. I mean, all throughout all of these stages, so you're playing it like a Reinhardt, you're just sitting back. Eventually, Defense Matrix will go away. I know a lot of people don't think so. Yeah, they think it's permanent and it just stays up all the time. But Defense Matrix will go away and just ate so much damage. Just ate damage and never being aggressive with it. She has a whole kit. The boosters are a very good part of it. They're on cooldown. Chase some people. Get a little bit aggressive. I'm not saying be ultra aggressive, but there's a time to play defense, and they ran at like 95%.
To be fair, at that same kind of aspect is that we can't necessarily blame Alpha Squad for that. Maybe we should be talking how well Mistakes in 1-2-3 was playing, because with his pressure on the back line, it forces Sherry Dormy to sit in the back line and protect his support.